Imagine this. It's World War II, and the battlefield isn't just crawling with soldiers. It's overrun by werewolves, vampires, Frankenstein's monster, and a Medusa-like Gorgon. No, this isn't a forgotten horror film. This is the story of DC Comics' Creature Commandos, the weirdest warriors ever to fight in the Second World War. A mix of horror, heroism, and history, their origins are unlike anything you've ever heard. Buckle up because this is going to get wild. Birth of the Beastly Battalion. It all started in 1980's Weird War Tales, DC Comics anthology series that blended war stories with a touch of horror. Enter Project MM for Monster. The US military, desperate to turn the tide of the war, decided to weaponize humanity's deepest fears. Subconscious archetypes like vampires, werewolves, and Frankenstein's monster were no longer just myths. They were military assets. And because regular soldiers weren't terrifying enough, right? Meet the monsters. Leading the pack was Lieutenant Matthew Shreve, the grizzled commander tasked with keeping his monstrous squad in line. But the real stars of Project M were the creatures themselves. Warren Griffith, a timid farm boy turned uncontrollable werewolf. Sergeant Vincent Velcro, a vampire created by a mix of bat blood and experimental chemicals. Elliot Lucky Taylor, a Marine rebuilt like Frankenstein's monster after a tragic accident. And later, Dr. Myrna Rhodes, a surgeon accidentally transformed into a Medusa-like Gorgon with living snakes for hair. Together, they were the Creature Commandos, a squad so bizarre, even their allies were terrified of them. But when it came to Nazi super soldiers and android conspiracies, these guys got the job done. Wartime weirdness. From storming a Nazi-occupied castle to battling Hitler's youth army, the Creature Commandos weren't just fighting battles, they were fighting nightmares. One mission even had them face off against android duplicates of world leaders like Franklin D. Roosevelt and Winston Churchill. Talk about high stakes. And hey, if you're loving this dive into comic book madness, make sure to hit that subscribe button. There's so much more where this came from. A weird war ending. Their last mission was as wild as their origins. Aboard an ICBM aimed at Hitler's chancellery, the Creature Commandos were supposed to end the war once and for all. But when the rocket malfunctioned, it launched into space, leaving their fate and the horrors of war an open-ended mystery. A fittingly strange end for the weirdest soldiers in comic book history. I mean, it's almost poetic, right? Monsters born of war, lost in the void of space. That's a story that stays with you. From comics to screen, fast forward to today, and DC Studios is giving the Creature Commandos a new lease on life. Under the guidance of James Gunn, the team is set to make their animated debut, complete with new recruits like Rick Flag Sr., Frankenstein, and even Weasel from the Suicide Squad. It's the perfect blend of nostalgia and modern storytelling. If you thought their comic origins were crazy, just wait until you see what Gunn has cooked up. The DC Universe is about to get weird, and I am here for it. So, what do you think? Could the Creature Commandos hold their own against today's superheroes? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey into the strange and spooky corners of DC Comics, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the weirdest warriors make the greatest heroes.